anyone that's going to be watching this. So RealRep, it's an outbound sales operating system that gives reps with what to do, what to say, when to say it to every and any unique prospect automatically. So it automates the entire workflow for an outbound sales rep from start to finish. The only thing that they need to do is literally send the email or make the call. Everything else is done for them. So what you're looking at here is a demo of Elite. So Elite is what really the sales reps will be living in and day out. And so we're going to go through this step by step. And like what I said to you, Mohammed, any questions you have, don't wait to the end. Just fire away whenever. Think of this like a workshop. So up the top, what you'll find is it's pretty much a reminder of how to use Elite for the reps. So it's a 50 prospect system. So as mentioned on Friday, what we did is rather than the reps today, where they'll hit 50 to 100 unique prospects every single day, and so they'll hit hundreds of prospects by the end of the week. This system, which has been beta tested, shows if you add 40 to 50 prospects through this 5-day cadence through RealRep, you book anywhere from 3 to 5 meetings per week with just those 40 to 50 reps. And using this cadence, it's taken from the best salespeople in the world, and all that data has been pulled into it. And then created this 5-day cadence. I too was skeptical, as well as even some of the other sales reps that I partnered with through the beta testing. And we didn't think, we thought we sort of took it with a grain of salt. But then taking the advice of global sales reps like Alex Hormozy and other ones like that, and give you a list afterwards, we pulled all different sort of data points into this and then created RealRep. So all of this is based on the top 1% of salespeople globally. And so that's how it's structured. So up the top is where you'll see how they really execute. Up the top as well, you'll see what the next action is. And then here is really the dashboard about how they're progressing so far during the week. So for example, with this particular demo, 42 actions completed across 50 prospects. The meetings booked up so far in this particular demo is 5. And then underneath, you can see the little sort of subtext where it shows them the system's working. And every single, if they've got no meetings booked, it gives them an encouragement message. And if they do have meetings booked, again, it says it's sort of that whole gamification side of things. Today's action, so they know what they're walking into straight away. And then the connect to meeting rate is, for example, with this demo is 33%. The reason why that's been added to this demo is because that was the most common range of when we did the beta testing, what people would hit. When they actually got someone on the call, 33% of the time is when they booked it. And then underneath that, you can see it gives them encouragement of the industry average. So it shows rather than the 2 to 5%, which is the global industry average, they're much more. So the whole thing is really to encourage them as well as show progress. And then with analytics, it shows similar thing, but it also shows the total amount of actions that they're taken for the week. It shows the activity broken down. For example, it's looking at a 7-day period. And then this is updated. This is getting updated this afternoon as we speak, that it'll just look through Monday to Friday. And then also, again, gives them that encouragement, building momentum, keep going. What's working, and then it really breaks down the, I guess, what they should really focus on. So the 5-day streak, consistency, edge, and so it breaks that down. The weekly summary, so the active prospects, actions this week, meeting, so they can look at these analytics. It's really for them. This analytics is more for them than it is for management and team leaders. They can turn on daily reminders, so 9 o'clock in the morning, their particular time, they'll get reminders of the sort of, the actions that they need to take. Here as well, what you'll see, you'll also see live results from reps using it as we speak. So pull it in from different data points. And so it gives them, again, that encouragement of this is not just a nice system, this is a system that actually works. And then the best cap of the rank is this. And so it was actually through your advice as well as through some other customers that we've onboarded, including online marketing gurus that we did earlier this week, was the prioritization of the prospects. And so what we did is any prospect that has, for example, chief, or is broken up into like CIO, CISO, those sort of little acronyms, as well as heads of in general and they're given a, I guess you can say, a graph or a rating when it comes to an ICP rating. So if they have those ideal ones in there, for example, VP, chief, so-and-so, they get a prime ICP, so they're prioritized. And then if they have, for example, director or heads of, they get a strong ICP. And then if they have manager, then they get a sort of 4 to 5 okay sort of rating. And it's prioritized based on what the ICP is. And so this is really important. So they go in and they know when they go into the execution queue, it's not just random prospects, it's the ones with the titles that are those decision makers rather than the other ones. And then down here, you'll see today's progress and then booked meetings. So they'll have a list of the book meetings that are there, and then completed are just the ones where if they've finished off, for example, say it's Friday, and they've finished off the cadence and they've booked, say, 5 meetings, and the rest of the, say, 40 or 50 prospects didn't get back to them, then they go sit into the completed section. And then if we go settings over here, so in settings, they get to choose the default about what their particular approach is. So if they, as a person, they are a bit more direct, punchy, confident, no fluff sort of thing, then they can do that. And then so the scripting for all emails, text messages, SMS, whatever it may be, it'll be tailored towards a more direct. I personally prefer the consultative, especially in the Australian market. It seems to work really, really well. And then casual as well seems a bit more relaxed. Found that when working with the really strong ICP, it wasn't sort of taken that well. But when it comes to more the 4 to 6 ICP or the okay, the manager level, it actually worked quite well. So the higher up we went, we found you had to be more consultative, and the lower down we sort of went when it came to managerial level, then the more sort of casual you could be. Then this is really important. So with Optus, for example, the good thing is all elite users are tied to the organization itself. So they can change their first name and they can change the company name if they want to, but of course it'll be Optus. But because it's tied to enterprise, they can't use this particular tool through Optus unless they're actually working for the company. They can buy their own one if they wanted to, but this one is not a if you want to use this, it's because you're working through Optus. So it also gives that sort of encouragement that way. The really things that are important is what do you provide, for example? And then how do you typically help? This is getting changed this afternoon to what problem do you solve? This is also important when it comes to the structuring of the scripts, and I'll show you that in a second. Probably the most important thing here, what you'll see is what universal business priority does your solution address the most? So all of this really focuses on sort of what you provide, but it doesn't address WIFM or what's in it for me. And it also doesn't address, why the prospect should care in the first place. This addresses WIFM as well as why they should care. And why they should care is because your user or the elite user has shown that they care. And so not only does it give you a bit of it shows what it is, it also shows why you would use this in the first place. So safe, relevant entry point that every prospect has responsibility over. You make yourself sound more strategic rather than another vendor. And then you can choose any particular universal business priority that the user wants to do, not just set for Optus. They can choose it, and then it tells them why they would choose it. And sort of, it's not just, hey, choose customer success or choose developing your people, It also will give you an indication about which one you should choose. And then again, that's reflected over calls, SMS, emails, everything. And again, then it just shows a bit your subscription plan and But if we go back to command center, oh, you silly bugger. But if we go back to, of course it's doing this. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Let me go here. I knew this was going to happen. I knew it in my bones. I knew it.
Wanted to look you up.
It did. It did not like me at all. Where is... I think is this one. Let me just bring this up. Yeah, perfect. And then I'm going to share my screen again. Forgive me, these technical issues, I tell you what, that's right. But I think that one was more my fault than anything. Anyway, so then back to the execution queue. So then you know what the user would see. You know what they can sort of change in settings and why they should change it. Where the rubber hits the road is this. So what they would see, actually, before I go into that, something more really important is we listened to your advice, and what's happened now as of, I think it was like 12 p.m. this afternoon, is now, and it wasn't just you, it was also a chief sales officer at a MSP. Recommended something. I had a little workshop with him for about 45 minutes. And so we also ensured that people or users could upload the prospects through a CSV. And so me and the team, we went through saying, how long actually would it take to add in 50 prospects? And then we looked at saying that's way too long. Like it was a short amount, but it was still, and it's like now what you can do is what you'll see as of say later, or say if we do another demo, what you'll see is you will see upload CSV. It'll come up with a pop-up. It'll say what is going to be done. It'll also give you an example template about what it should sort of look like. So title, name, industry, company name. And then as soon as that's uploaded, then all of this, the prospects that were in that CSV, it'll populate in the execution queue. So rubber hitting the road, they would say execution, this one, and it comes up already with who the person is, what sort of tone, especially for day one, that you should choose, and what is going to be included is a call and an SMS. You'll go down to the call script. It'll be tailored for Layla, Jackson ABC Group, read your company's focus, even gives the normal through Glen Coco, which is a global sales organization, is they even said to put in really the ums and the ahs into the actual scripting so it makes it sound more natural. So this has been populated. What it is focused completely on the customer, and it's usually the top 1% openers globally of what gets the most calls. And this is taken from Gong, this is taken from 30 Minutes to President's Club and things like that, Alex Hormozzi. Then going through here, using the number 17, it might sound markety to the average person, but using data, what we've been able to find is using a particular number that's not too high, not too low, actually the prospect feels like they've been chosen rather than just a random number, if that makes sense. And so that was really important. And then what we also found is how it links from their particular company focus, why that links to you. So this whole thing it's addressed, why should I care? You should care, or they care because you have shown that you care. And then typically where you help is through, and then this is how the company helps itself. And then when it comes to when it comes to sort of before the CTA, is to give your team back time to focus on growth and that particular customer focus. That's obviously important. And the reason why giving teams back time, growth, and then that particular customer focus that we showed there, the reason why those three are chosen is because the customer focus that the user would have chosen is universal. So it applies to them. Giving team back time is one of the things, or the number one priority across any sort of department the data shows is what they want, is getting that time back. And then growth is what any sort of organization, regardless if you're in private or you're an NFP, wants to do. Could be member growth, could be donor growth, or it could be revenue growth. And so tackling these three things about how you help, and then softly going back into, and then what we do, it gives your team back time to focus on growth, and then that customer focus, that's, for example, that business priority that's important to you, and then it's really the CTA. So I know my timing might be off, and you already might have a provider who provides your whatever you may provide, and so it deals with 2 objections straight off the bat, and then it goes into a very soft ask. You've got the objections that are already populated, tailored for this. And then if they don't answer, then they send this particular text here. And then again, the next step, which is already blocked. So they'll say, yep, I made the call. And then great. And then once they do that, now they can say, it's no answer, wrong contact, not interested. And say they say book a meeting. Great. Well, then that goes into the book a meeting section, and they move straight on to the next one. And it's all focused. This 5-day cadence is all focused on that 5-day touch. So call and SMS. Second one is call, voicemail. Third one is email. Fourth one is call, no voice message. And then fifth one is a call with a breakup message if they don't. And using that consistent approach, that 33% conversion rate and that 3 to 5 meetings booked, that's what we found doing the beta testing over 3 months. And again, like you and like anyone here, I probably would have been skeptical too, but doing it was just reinforcement week on week where this system actually works. Now, if we do, this is the enterprise dashboard. So this is what a team leader would look at. This is what a manager would look at, or like someone like yourself, like an SDR team lead. So when it comes to enterprise, all elite users that are linked to the enterprise, you can see, and you see any activity. You can see how many calls were connected. You see the NMS sent. You see how many were not answered, how many emails were sent, how many meetings were booked, how many wrong contacts. Not only that, but it also shows all the activity logs, all the active prospects, things like that. Down the bottom, under, we call it the donut wheel, under here, it also gives you a leaderboard about who made the most or had the most success and what the conversion rate was. Again, this is just a demo. Down here, and then it shows who was inactive, who had low quality, and then also this is the live activity feed. So every time you refresh the page, it'll show you. What's probably more important to you before I go into the reporting is this is the team. So for example, let's just say I've just said, yep, we want to give this a shot. This will be good. Then this will be blank at the start, and you can add any user you want to from your team. And as soon as you send them a magic link, it'll send them an email. Once they click on that email and they're verified, it takes them straight to their dedicated Elite onboarding dashboard, and all of that data that they have is linked directly to you. So anything that they can possibly do, you'll see on your dashboard. And then it comes to reporting. So this is more up your alley or what you were talking about. So no more Excel spreadsheets, no more doing any of that sort of stuff. If you want to, you can download the CSV file. You can choose if you want to look at day, week, month, quarter, or custom. And it's broken down really into this. What is probably my favorite part of this altogether is if we download PDF, can you still see my screen? Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
Is it gives you a report, and not only does it give you a report with the executive summary and key insights, things like that, but also shows, for example, if you're doing a 4-week trend, or you've picked the 4 weeks, then it shows what the last few weeks were done, and it compares how you're going now. The team performance, it'll look at the top 10 reps, and it'll see how they ranked and who's coming first, what the conversion, whatever it is, da-da-da-da. And then this one needs attention. So what it does is it will give you some insights into who you should sort of focus on when it comes to a coaching performance thing, when it comes to an activity way. It already gives you in this report that maybe Liam or Amara or Mei-Ling, but maybe they need some extra support, or what's not working for them, or compared to the top 10, why are they sort of lagging behind, and what sort of support do they need? And then it comes to the action plan. So the wins, it'll give them this. It also gives some advice where share the approach in stand-up. It'll show a conversion rate of 7%. So one focus session can add about 5 to 10 points next cycle. And then 24 meetings booked, target next week is 26. So it already gives you a sort of structure about where you want the team to go. And then the risks to watch, again, it already gives you those sort of insight into, based on the data, this is who I think that you should focus on. This is where, for example, with Raj and Claire, refresh lead lists before calling because they have a high wrong contact rate. The full team logged activity, no inactivity risks. So it directs you exactly where you should focus your attention. And then the immediate actions is then again, like for example, Liam and Mara focus on objection handling and activity volume. Jackson to share top three tactics with the team, as he was the #1 leaderboard. So not only does it give you the reporting, it also gives you insights based on the data about what you can do to sort of continue that sort of growth. And that's pretty much it. That's it in a nutshell. It's Elite Enterprise, gives the reps what to do, what to say, when to say it to every prospect, and then gives you live data about how the team's tracking, insights about how to make them better that way. So yeah,